So last year on our Patreon, our limited 1986 series covered Wes Craven's Deadly Friend. My guests for that episode were Amanda Janik and Chuck Bryan, two names synonymous with horror. And I got to tell you, I was craving some more time with these two. So they have returned. So, guys, let's talk about another film by Wes Craven, his 1981 underrated folk horror film, Deadly Blessing. Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff Johnson, and this is a Film by podcast. Let me begin by inviting all of you to check out a Film By's YouTube channel. It's been there for a while, kind of lying dormant, but we have just dropped our three-part special, which is available now. A Film By goes to Scarefest. And I got to tell you, each episode is packed with on-camera interviews with plenty of your favorite celebrities that were at the event. So don't miss it. Please hit that follow button now because we also have something in the works to celebrate our YouTube launch, but it's only available for the first 100 subscribers. Guys, my deadly friends, we're back. I had so much fun discussing Deadly Friend with you guys, and I was so happy when you're like, "Hey, we'll come back next year. We'll do another one." And we just, what are the chances that it would be another Wes Craven film with the word deadly in the title? I was like, I hadn't seen this movie, and I just said, we're doing it because it's Wes Craven, it's deadly, and it's Chuck, it's Amanda. And I'm so happy to have you guys back.
Well, we're definitely seeing a theme going on here.
We're going to talk about the theme later on towards the end here. But before we do that, Amanda, welcome back. It's
Thank you.
always a pleasure. I got to wonder, are we ever going to have you on where we're not talking about a horror film? I don't know if that's going to happen, but maybe.
Probably not. It's not my
Probably not, right?
probably. I mean, I can't really think of any other genre or specific film that I as excited as I do about horror. I really can't.
Well, and you're the slasher girl,
I
so
am.
yeah, we got to have you for these episodes.
Yeah.
A genre I like, 70s, the gritty movies of the 70s. Chuck, what can you tell us about the Cinematic Flashback podcast?
Yeah, the Cinematic Flashback is a show I host that celebrates the wild, bold, and unforgettable films of the 1970s. Each episode, my co-host and I, Matt, we hop into the proverbial Wayback Machine and revisit one classic movie, breaking down the cast and crew, just the story behind the production, how it performed then and now. And, we always finish up asking, does this film still groove or did it kind of lose its beat? So, anyways, it's part film history, part conversation between friends who just love movies. So you'll get a little bit of mix of research, trivia, and maybe a little humor along the way.
I happen to love the Cinematic Flashback podcast. I'll be honest, like there's a couple of movies where I was like, I've never heard of this. Is it any good? And Chuck, if you said it grooved, it hit my playlist. So
Oh, nice.
I have you to thank for several that I was like, either I've never seen it or I've always wanted to see it. And then a couple I was like, well, I'm gonna go watch it again because Chuck and Matt have got my interest peaked. So guys, we're here to talk about Wes Craven. I got three facts about Craven and a pretty cool quote befitting the holiday that we're in. Let's start off because I know we talked about Wes Craven a little bit last time, but this time I was surprised to find out he was originally set to direct Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. I want you to think about that for a second. Wes Craven directing a Superman film. And it didn't happen because that tried and true excuse in Hollywood. Chuck, you've heard it a bunch of times. Creative differences.
Is this Superman 4 still being produced by Golden Globus, the Go Globe brothers?
Apparently so. The creative differences were not with them. They were actually with Christopher Reeve. I don't know what a Wes Craven Superman film would have looked like, but I would have
I
watched
can
it.
tell you right
So.
now there would be a bathtub scene.
There would be a pretty interesting bathtub scene. That is absolutely sure. I'm sure of that. Uh, Guys, are either of you familiar with a director named Abe Snake?
No.
Okay,
Uh-oh,
Jeff.
Chuck. Don't get yourself in trouble.
Unfortunately, you sent me down a rabbit hole of research on this one,
Oh
and I
boy.
am familiar with him, but I'm gonna let you talk about that.
Well, to anyone, any horror fan that's like, I've seen every Wes Craven film. I have every Wes Craven film in my collection. Chances are you don't, because Abe Snake was just one of the fake names that Wes used in the 70s when he was directing pornographic films.
Now that you say that, it's ringing a bell. I think I did hear that.
I I don't know where you would
Wow.
find an Abe Snake uh pornographic film at this point, but you got to wonder, like, were people complaining, like, is it just too cinematic? Does or his shots just too artistic? I don't know. I've never seen an
Why
Abe
is there
Snake
always
film.
a hand coming out of the bathtub? You
Yeah,
know?
Yes.
yeah. Why are we in the bathtub again? Uh, I'll tell you what. Before all that, though, before his filmmaking career actually took off, he was a teacher and university professor, having earned an undergraduate degree in English and psychology, as well as a master's degree in philosophy and writing. So, Mr. Craven, quite the educated man before and after his film career. So, on Scary Movies, Wes had this short quote to say: "Horror films don't create fear, they release it." I think that's kind of interesting. Like, it's deep, it kind of makes you think, because I don't think we go into a movie and get scared. I think we just have fears that are in us that maybe get unlocked a little bit by what we see on the screen.
For
Um,
sure. Like
yeah.
innate things inside every person that you're afraid of: the dark, strangers, invasions, unknown.
Spiders, snakes, bathtubs.
Okay, a farmhouse with open windows at
Yeah.
night, that to me, this film hit a couple of the things that get me. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's unleashed.
Look, this is a very underrated film. This is 1981. This is Wes Craven before Nightmare on Elm Street. Chuck, could you give us a small synopsis about Deadly Blessing?
Oh yeah. So it's a film about Martha and her husband Jim, and they live on a farm beside a group called the Hittites. Now, the Hittites are an Amish-like sect led by Jim's fanatical father, Isaiah. So as it goes, Jim is killed in what appears to be an accident, and Martha is left alone. But she is soon joined by her city friends, Vicky and Lana. So, as murders, visions, and religious hysteria spread, suspicion turns inward, and the final act reveals the true killer. Jeff, one thing's clear. When Wes Craven knocks on your farmhouse door, don't answer it, because that's not salvation, it's a deadly blessing.
Very
That is
good.
perfect, Chuck. Thank you. Amanda, let's get this out of the way. Is this a slasher film?
Yes. Yes. I was quite surprised actually when I was watching it. I mean,
I
it's
wasn't ready for that. Were you?
no, I thought it was gonna be more supernatural,
Hmm.
which obviously we get a taste of, but yeah, I would definitely classify this as a slasher.
None of us had seen this when we
No.
agreed to do this, and I got to tell you, I got a little nervous at first because Amanda throws a message in the chat. What the actual f am I watching? And I was like, okay, what's Wes Craven? It's Ernest Borgnine, like, And then I out of curiosity, I just Google it and I pull up IMDb, and the only screen grabs are a naked woman in a bathtub, provocatively, and I was like, oh no, what if this is, And then the film poster, like, scantily clad girl being, with the hands coming down by her head. I was like, what if this is some, you know, erotic horror film, like a what have I done? Like, I've asked Chuck and Amanda to watch this, and I don't know what I'm. But
Abe
Amanda,
is
that
crossing genres there.
yeah, crossing, yeah, I was a little worried. So, But Amanda, what was it? Chuck, you were asking off. We were off camera. Chuck, you were asking like, what was Amanda? Amanda, what were you watching at that point?
Let me just preface this though by saying I'm not good with new movies, which is
Okay.
what I admire about you guys that you'll, like you had just said that Chuck, I had started a playlist for you basically of movies you've never seen that you want to see or whatever. I have a very small attention span. I'm
Hmm.
always doing something else when I'm watching movies all the time. So if it's something unfamiliar or TV shows or whatever, I can't do it. Like I still haven't even finished the last season of Handmaid's Tale because I have to pay attention to it. And I can't do that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I've got to focus on this. I've never seen this movie before. And it starts out looking like Little House on the Prairie. And I was like, I can tell you right now, this is not going to be my jam. I thought it was going to be more like a period piece. They're hoeing the fields down. They've got that ridiculous voiceover, very ABC Sunday night movie. I was like, oh, this is going to be torture. And luckily it picked up pretty quickly after that. But the beginning was not, I know they were setting the tone, and setting the actual setting of the movie to give you world building there. But I was not prepared for that. I'm not going to lie. I was, ooh, yeah.
I'm so happy that you said Little House on the Prairie because my first note I'm looking at right now, opening feels like Little House on the Prairie
Mhm.
until the Jaws narrator drops in.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, what just happened? Because he's like in the rolling hills of a simple farm community, untouched by time, a gruesome secret has been protected for generations. And I was like, okay, well now you got my attention because I don't want to watch Little House on the Prairie.
No,
And,
no.
and then this guy pops in with this ominous voiceover, and then Michael Berryman's running around. So I was like, okay, now you have my attention. I'm all the way in. Chuck, what was your thoughts when you started it?
Well, first of all, the credit sequence, Maren Jensen, okay, Athena from Battlestar
Athena.
Galactica. I mean, I know you're going to talk about that, but for me, like my 10-year-old ha 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 starts coming back out, right? And the second thing that was just immediately noticeable was James Horner soundtrack. So I'm like, what?
Oh yeah.
We've got something really good here. And I was kind of excited. I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. Took a little while to get started. But then it does pick up, definitely.
I I'm hearing the James Horner score. I know I'm watching a Wes Craven movie. And Chuck, to your point, Athena is on the screen, so yeah, again, yeah, I'm with you. 10-year-old Jeff's like, whoa, hey, Athena from Battlestar's in this. And you got Ernest Borgnine, who's just terrifying. He's given off some Reverend Kane vibes from Poltergeist 2 a little bit. Because he's also still, he's like, this is 1981, so he's still big and brutish and looks like he can whip some ass, like kind of a Poseidon adventure,
Hmm.
Borgnine. I absolutely loved it though.
To be fair, you guys are talking about your 10-year-old, inner coming out
Yeah.
when Marin came out. I had no idea who she was, but my 48-year-old Amanda went like, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, very, very pretty lady. Wow.
I was not ready for Athena to disrobe. I didn't know that was on the menu, so I was like, "What? Okay,
I was
interesting."
disappointed to learn that was a body double.
Well, some of the scenes were a body double, and some weren't. And who's to say who it was? But Maren Jensen, this is her final film role. Career was kind of cut short by illness, but she did go on to co-found the cosmetics brand Styla,
Hmm?
Mm.
which Chuck, Amanda's nodding her head. You and we don't know what we're talking about.
Have that
But
eyeshadow.
it's
I was going to
eyeshadow.
say,
That's
Okay.
I actually know
interesting.
this.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
okay, Chuck.
I,
Okay.
I
Well,
only
yeah, I was
know
like,
this
oh, that's
because
cool.
my daughter, my youngest daughter is a makeup artist. And
Oh, okay.
so I asked her about this and she gave me all the information about it.
So it's a popular brand then, is what it sounds like. So good, good for
It
her.
sells well at Sephora.
Okay, okay. Now what I might not know about eyeshadow, but I do know that she collaborated with Don Henley quite a bit in the early '80s, doing some voice work, some background vocals. Chuck she did a little bit of piano work for Don Henley.
Yeah, so it was actually she and Don Henley were a couple for quite a long time.
Okay.
And if do you remember the song Johnny Can't Read?
Yeah.
So when it kicks into the chorus, she's in the background
Oh, that's
chorus.
okay. That's her.
And there was a video, not enough love in the world, and she composed. She's appeared in the video for that, and she composed the piano intro for his song "A Month of Sundays." So
All
they
right.
were an item for a while until they separated in '86.
1986,
Hmm.
the best year in the 80s, Chuck, for cinema, as you know. I was surprised to see a very young Sharon Stone show up in this movie, playing her friend Lana Marcus. And this is her first speaking role. I think she had done one or two other movies before this where she's just like in the background hanging out.
Yeah,
But
she was in Woody Allen's Stardust Memories. She was like the girl on the bus is her credited role for that, but she had no speaking lines. This was her first credited speaking role, that was in a major film.
okay, so I know she's got an acting coach on set with her. No, we'll be fair, but we'll be firm. How is Sharon Stone in Deadly Blessing?
I thought she was fine.
Did
I thought she was
okay,
fine.
her
But did you hear the story about like how she wanted direction though from Wes Craven?
no,
Mm-mm.
tell us, Amanda.
So apparently, because this was her first, like, we'll call it major in quotes role, she went on there, on set and expected the director to be like, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to say this. This is, the direction you're going to turn, whatever. And apparently, Wes Craven is much more about just creating the atmosphere and
Hmm.
letting the actors and actresses kind of do their thing. And apparently, she shut down the production a couple times and was like finally screamed at the top of her lungs on the set, I need direction here. And Wes Craven
Wow.
basically told her that I'm not your director. So
Whoa.
somehow that was
Mm.
smoothed over, but um yeah, I thought that story was kind of interesting because as a first time actress coming on a set to a somewhat major movie,
Yeah. This is
um
Wes's first big production movie,
mhm,
first time he's
mhm.
working with big actors. So,
Yeah, he had big money on this one.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. Like and I know it's her character. Um, but Amanda, I gotta say, like if you're inviting two of your gal pals over to cheer you up,
Mhm.
maybe Lana should stay home. Like
Maybe.
she she just shows up with her own bag of issues and
And
I
box
don't
of
know.
wine.
And
Yeah.
box of wine. Yeah. Well, I think you need a box of wine if you're gonna do the spider scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Now,
I do have a funny comment about that though.
yeah.
So Marin Jensen, that's her name, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So she's on screen, absolutely stunning. Can you imagine her being like, I am the prettiest babe in this movie? And then in walks Sharon
And then
Stone.
Sharon, yeah, 1981 Sharon Stone
Yeah.
walks in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be a little bit of a hit, maybe. But
Just a little bit.
listen, there's no unattractive women in this movie as
Oh,
far as I'm
no,
concerned.
none at all.
Now, the spider, like you watch a movie sometimes. Now this is 1981, so we're thinking there was no CGI. This is practical effects, but how are they doing this? And Amanda, I know you're not a fan of this moment, but we gotta address it because there's a spider, and I don't know what, like a tarantula basically.
Hmm. Hmm.
It drops down and go and right into her mouth, and I'm like, okay, how do they do that? And it turns out Wes, Sharon Stone's like, I'm not doing that. And Wes picks up the spider and tries to show her like, hey, it's gentle, it just looks scary, and he's like kind of holding it and petting it, and she's like, no, I'm not doing it unless you remove its teeth. Now, it's 1981, and Wes says, "Yeah, we'll remove the spider's teeth," and then she agrees to do it. I think he's just full of shit, though. Like, are you telling me that they had a spider operation and had this
By a
thing's teeth
spider
removed?
dentist, Spidey
Yeah, like
Yeah.
dentist on
did you
set.
call a spider dentist or
Yeah.
Like Hermie came in from
yeah,
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and pulled
Mhm.
that
yeah,
those teeth right away,
yeah.
There is
But
not enough money in the world. Not enough
she,
money in the world.
she did it. I don't know. I just don't know that we're even a movie like this. I just it's got a little bit of money behind it, but I don't think we're calling in a spider dentist to
Mm-mm.
remove the tarantula's teeth. I think she got bamboozled by
Mm.
by by Wes Craven. Let's talk Susan Buckner. She's the other friend, Vicki Anderson. I don't know anything about this woman, guys. I know she was Miss Washington in 1971, and I know she played Patty Simcox in Grease
Mhm.
with Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Other than that, Chuck, you're the '70s guy. What do we know about Vicki Anderson?
My
Anything?
my hit on her was going to be for Grease. That's what I knew
Okay,
her from.
all right.
But
I stole your thunder.
no, that's fine.
I'll tell you what. What's surprising though, the one thing I did uncover the whole time she's doing this. So think about this. Out of all of them, she's a little physical. She's got with the car wreck, and she's running around. She's jogging the whole time. She's pregnant the whole time she's shooting this movie. So
Hmm.
gotta think that's a little bit dangerous. I don't know, but um, I liked her though. I thought I liked the character,
Yeah, she did
honestly.
good. I feel like she's like, how everybody says like, oh, it's that guy. When you see
Yeah.
somebody in a movie, you've
Hmm.
seen them before, but you can't think of where. I watched it the first time and I'm like, it's that girl. It's that girl. She's been
Yeah.
in a ton of stuff. And to come to
Yep.
find out, nope, no, not really. So she just has that face, I guess, that,
She's got the look.
yeah, that
Yeah.
looks familiar, but
Yeah. Amanda, you've told us that this is a slasher, and the unfortunate thing in slasher films are that a lot of people are not going to make it to the end. And
mhm.
I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, I hope she makes it to the end. I mean, she doesn't, but you know, did like her. I was so happy to see the guy she's smitten with, Jeff East, playing the younger brother of Marin's husband. He's John Schmidt.
Schmidt.
Schmidt. Not yeah. Sorry, Jeff. As soon as I saw his face, I knew exactly who he was, though. You guys recognize him, of course.
Oh, yes, that guy can kick a football like nobody's business.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, young Clark Kent from the
Yes.
1978 Superman. I
Yes.
I thought that was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Moving right along though, because we could talk about all we could talk about the whole Hittite family, I'm sure. But two people, and Chuck, if I'm missing someone, you let me know. Amanda, if I'm missing out on someone, you got to tell me. But we got to talk. We already mentioned him, Ernest Borgnine as Isaiah Schmidt, the elder.
Hmm.
I don't know. Has he ever played a bad guy? Is this the only time he's played a bad guy?
Oh, I'm sure
I
he's
can't.
played bad guys
I don't
before.
know. I always think of him. I think of Escape from New York. I think, um, the Poseidon Adventure. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, we
Except
covered
for
him on Poseidon Adventure, and that was what was coming in my mind. But I
yeah,
thought I thought in this film, i- the term "chewing up the scenery" kind
yeah,
of describes the performance because when he's on, he
yeah.
is he's a force on the screen, and it's kind of turning off because of the way that they're always accusing people of being the incubus or
Hmm.
you're the herald or the you're in league with the incubus.
Hellfire
And
to the Incubus.
well, yeah, it turns out he wasn't wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, Amanda, our guy Isaiah, he had the right idea, right?
Right.
I think this is just classic misdirection. We're supposed to be scared of him, but
Well, it's 100% misdirection if you watch the whole movie. I mean,
mhm.
I think it's fascinating. He was actually nominated for a Razzie for that role. And I think he won.
Really?
I think he
Oh,
won.
Really?
okay.
I didn't think it was
Well,
bad. Like, I don't think it was
No.
Razzie
no,
worthy.
like okay, so Chuck's talking about chewing up the scenery, and you're saying he was
Yeah.
nominated for a Razzie Award. Oh, I hope he didn't win. I don't know what would have been. Well, I don't know who he's up against, but you know, I
It's
liked
very
him in
classic
this.
Amanda to know he was nominated for a Razzie, but not know if he won or not.
Yeah.
So sorry
Hey,
to disappoint your listeners.
I want to believe that he was nominated, but lost because this is not a bad performance. Yeah,
No.
Chuck's right. He dials it up a little bit, but I think you have to when you're the elder of
Well,
the
that's his character, right?
yeah
Mhm.
And
of the
and
the
it's
fictional Amish community that he's in.
it's he's evoking a response
Yeah.
from the viewers who are watching him. You're meant to root against him, and
Mhm.
like you said, it is a bit of a misdirection. There's a lot of
Well,
misdirection in
there's a
this
lot of
film.
misdirections. We'll get to a few of them,
The
but
whole movie is kind of a misdirection.
it is.
You're not wrong.
Now, Craven, Amanda, I think you'll appreciate this as the slasher girl. Craven likened working with Borgnine to Carpenter working with Donald Pleasance on the original Halloween, saying that Borgnine was the first big name actor he had worked with, and he was very intimidated the whole time.
Okay.
And you know, that makes sense. Like you gotta think like Carpenter, when he's making Halloween, the only known actor is Donald Pleasance, and
Right.
they're all a bunch of kids around him, and they're like, yeah, Mr. Pleasance. And Wes Craven's in the same boat. You know, he had done Hills Have Eyes at this point, but there's no big stars. You know, so and now you've got Academy Award winning Ernest Borgnine. You know, I think what was it, Marty in 55 maybe.
Mhm.
Um, you got Ernest Borgnine on your set, so yeah, I could see that he'd be a little intimidated.
Well, do you think that that was kind of done by design too, following Halloween's model
I think so. I mean, there's let's
of
be
having
honest.
one big recognizable name?
Yeah. I mean, Amanda, let's be honest. There's a couple different things that we see in this movie that's like, oh, I saw that in this
Uh-huh.
movie. And you know, and in one case, and we'll get to it, but you know, something that we'll see again with Wes. But yeah, Borgnine's awesome in this. Actually got thrown from a horse, busted his head open. They took him to the hospital. 3 days later, he's back on set to finish the movie. So he's a tough guy. He's a very tough guy. One last guy I want to talk about before we move on. One of my favorite guys, Michael Berryman playing William Gluntz.
Once.
Yeah, this is his second of four Wes Craven films. He does Hills in '77. He's got Deadly Blessing in '81, and then he does Invitation to Hell and Hills Have Eyes Part Two in 1984. Um, what I love about him in this movie is this is his first. I feel like this is one of the first movies where he's not playing the scare. I get it. Again, misdirection. He's playing someone that we think we should be scared of, but he's not a bad guy. And I love the fact that Michael Berryman gets to kind of show his acting chops. He gets a lot of dialogue in this, and he's a tragic character as far as I'm concerned.
He's kind of the guy who's still, he's an adult, but he still has he's kind of a kid at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, he's curious, but also it's going to get him in trouble, obviously. But he doesn't mean bad. No, there's no ill will with this guy.
He's
He's
a
you
terrible
know
liar. You
oh,
got
he
to
is
think
definitely a
about the
terrible
mud
liar.
on the shoe, before
Yeah,
you tell your dad that I lost the other shoe in the mud. But yeah, Michael
I
Berryman is so he's a really interesting actor to just look at. So when you see him, you never forget him. And we reviewed One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest earlier this year. And when Michael Berryman appears in that film, it's just like all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, he's not going to hurt anybody here, you
mhm.
know. So
Yeah,
he has a good film to start off with, and then he's made his career since then.
yeah, he is such an amazing guy. We actually last weekend we had the chance to talk with him at Scarefest, and I know the whole interview. Again, I mentioned our YouTube special, Film by Goes to Scarefest. You can see the whole interview there, but I did want to give you this clip. He had a fun story about his time on Deadly Blessing. If we could talk about another performance, William Gluntz, 1981's Deadly Blessing. This is your second time working with Wes Craven. Any fond memories from that film?
Yes. We filmed in Texas. It was one of Sharon Stone's first movies.
Oh, that's right, Sharon Stone.
My girlfriend at the time was a Texas blonde, athletic and a lot of legs. Just a real sweetheart. And she didn't like the idea of being around all these hussies. So I was getting my work done. It was great working with Wes again. And the film was wonderful to work on, but some of the other actresses showed up in a place where we were hanging out as a tent. And one of them had a water bottle, and she looking at me, and she goes, "Could you open this for me, please?" Now my girlfriend has her hand on my thigh, and I feel the claws, and I'm thinking, I have to say the right thing, or I'm going to get in trouble here. So what I did was I said, "Well, you have to snap it like you're wringing the neck of a chicken." I got points for that.
Good point. Yeah, Michael Berryman, awesome guy. Definitely, you
Great
got to go
story.
check out that. Yeah, he's amazing.
Great story.
Yeah, he's got some fun stories. let's talk about this film's background. Um, you know, as you heard, Mr. Berryman, they were shooting this in Dallas, Dallas, Ennis, and Waxahachie, Texas. Uh, so to create the look of the film, Craven said he was inspired by Philip Wiley's books and Van Gogh's paintings to get like that houses lined up, farm, American Gothic look. I don't know if I'm thinking Van Gogh for American Gothic.
Mm-mm.
Wouldn't you like Rockwell maybe? Or I mean, I'm not the art major.
Yeah.
He
But so the cinematographer on this film was Robert Jessup, and his credentials included Smokey and the Bandit. I think between Jessup and James Horner, they really elevated the look and the sound of this film. And I think it maybe held up some of the story a little bit as well.
Horner's score is fantastic. It definitely gives this movie a little more gravitas. Chuck, I know you're a big Horner fan. Our very own Wayne Whited is a huge James Horner fan. I asked Wayne, I said, look, what can you tell us about Horner's work on Deadly Blessing? He had this to say. Wayne, take it away.
James Horner's score for Deadly Blessing is one of his earliest works, and though it is often overshadowed by his later triumphs, it offers a fascinating glimpse into a composer who would soon become one of the defining voices of film music in the 1980s and beyond. The film itself, a Wes Craven directed horror story about an isolated religious community and mysterious deaths, provided Horner with the opportunity to experiment with atmosphere, tension, and musical textures. His work here is raw, experimental, and at times abrasive, but it lays the groundwork for some of the stylistic hallmarks he would refine in his later career. Director Wes Craven and producer Patricia Hershovic originally wanted composer Jerry Goldsmith to score the film, based on the success of his score for the film The Omen, but the Oscar-winning composer was well out of their price range. In came James Horner, who was only 27 years old at the time, and who had just completed his score for the film Wolfen, at this time replacing the rejected score that Crave Safin did for the film. Horner was very aware of the producer's love for The Omen, and being a great admirer of Goldsmith's work, Horner did his best to evoke the feel and style of that earlier score. One of the most striking aspects of the score is Horner's use of dissonance and sound design elements to evoke unease. Rather than relying on lush themes and romantic motifs, he leans heavily on eerie string clusters, sharp brass stabs, and unsettling percussive rhythms. The score doesn't always flow melodically. Instead, it creeps and jolts, mirroring the unpredictable nature of the film's suspense. Often, Horner plays with silence and sudden bursts of noise, which just enhances the atmosphere and keeps the listener in a state of heightened anxiety. Some of the highlight cues that Horner created for Deadly Blessing includes the fantastic piece used for the main title, which he immediately sets a brooding, unsettling atmosphere using low strings, eerie sustained chorus, and unsettling clusters to create a sense of dread. The influences from The Omen are extremely prevalent here. The cue Martha and Jim is a quiet, sweet interlude that shows Horner's early mastery of the orchestra, warm strings, and a flowing, sweet theme, contrasts nicely with the horror material that lies ahead. Next is Jim's death with Tractor, one of the film's more cinematic horror moments, with Horner moving from slow dread to violent orchestral outbursts and choir, and is very similar in style and sound to one of the composer's later action horror projects, Aliens. For fans looking for the ultimate horror cue, the track Gluntz's Demise is a perfect example. Horner presents a longer and more developed look into his own terrifying style, creating a full arc of suspenseful music which builds to terror, to release, laying choir, percussion, and string clusters. There's even a touch of Craig Huxley's Blaster Beam, made famous with Goldsmith's score to Star Trek the Motion Picture. This is Horner at his scariest, an example of a musical haunted house. The cue, Snakes in the Bath, is an extended suspense piece with sustained tension and a clever use of orchestral shocks to bring out the best effect. Another later cue, Faith Leaps Out, is pure James Horner at his finest and most ambitious, highlighting many of his musical fingerprints heard so many times in his later films. A perfect mixing of choir and orchestral frenzy, building up the tension to a climax, highlighting the character of Faith and her demise. Then finally, there is the final cue of the film, the incubus rises and end credits, concluding the film with a return to the choral chanting and a disturbing string version of the pastoral theme, all based around a chilling piano undertheme. Now, I will truly admit, Deadly Blessing is not an easy album to listen to. This is music designed to unsettle, and its effectiveness lies more in the ability to sustain tension rather than providing an enjoyable listening experience. Deadly Blessing didn't receive a soundtrack release back in 1981 when the film was released. With the exception of a low-quality bootleg released back in the 1990s, which paired the score with another of Horner's unreleased early scores, Wolfen, film music and horror fans would have to wait a long time before the official release of this score. It wouldn't be until June of 2023 before it would see the light of day in the form of a special collection volume from Entrada Records. Containing the complete score, mastered from the only surviving set of a quarter-inch, 2-track stereo elements, this release contains a few extra pieces, including an earlier take of the cue Snakes in the Bath, and a later revised version of the end titles, which Horner had rescored the final few seconds to the piece. They even included the music used for the trailer for the film, composed not by Horner, but by the incredible John Beal, best known for scoring the hit TV series Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and 8 is Enough. Beal is a well-known composer of trailer music from 1977 to 2007, and wrote trailer music from films ranging from Titanic to Star Wars, Planet of the Apes to Aladdin, even Police Academy and JFK. It's a great addition to an already fantastic soundtrack. Ultimately, Horner's Deadly Blessing soundtrack remains a curiosity in his career, a bold, somewhat abrasive work that reveals his early mastery of orchestral color and psychological manipulation. It may lack the sweeping emotional resonance of his later achievements, but as a horror score, it is both effective and historically significant. For listeners willing to embrace the unsettling qualities, it offers a fascinating window into an early development of one of cinema's most celebrated composers.
Well, there you have it, Wayne. I listen. We look at the schedule, and I'm always assuming that Wayne's going to go after like more well-known movies. But when he saw Deadly Blessing, he went, "Oh, I'll do that." I was like, "No, you won't. You don't know anything about Deadly Blessing. It's a Wayne doesn't like horror films." And he's like, "No,
I
that's
heard
James."
the Amityville horror episode.
yeah, yeah. And he's like, "No, that's a James Horner score. I'm in." So Wayne, we thank you for that. Crazy Wayne whited fact for you. I learned just this past weekend at Scarefest. At one time, Wayne was related to Wes Craven.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a dark helmet, like a your brothers, sisters, cousins kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
Wes Craven, he's from Cleveland, Ohio. So, and that's where our show originates from, is Ohio, not Cleveland, but Ohio. Yeah, Wayne just casually drops this on me and David at Scarefest, and I'm like, huh? What? And we've known the guy 20, 30 years. I'm like, you were related to Wes Craven through marriage? He's like, yeah. He's a nice guy. Like, he went to, like, Wayne's going to family reunions, and there's Wes, and they're hanging out. And Wayne just never thought to tell us any of this, until season 6. So, Wayne, thank you for that.
Wayne has so much knowledge. I mean, he's probably forgotten more than I've ever known. So it doesn't surprise me.
I know. Listen, guys, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, there's a couple scenes I know we got to talk about. Welcome back. I've got Amanda Janik. I've got Chuck Bryan. We're talking about Wes Craven's 1981 Amish horror film, Deadly Blessing. Guys, I'm not going to do like the whole pivotal moment thing, because it's a horror film. It's a slasher, and we don't need to worry about pivotal moments, but there are some crazy scenes that I definitely want to talk about. How'd you guys feel about the John Deere tractor murder? Who saw
I
that
wasn't
coming?
expecting it.
No.
Oh, I thought like, okay, you got that pair there. They're our final guy and girl.
Yeah. I thought Jim was going to make it.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
that one threw me for a loop.
did
Yeah,
not did not see it coming.
I was surprised with Jim. I honestly, I agree with you. They set it up perfectly. They pulled the old, what is it, the old Alfred Hitchcock thing where they introduce like who you think is going to be the star. You start to invest in them, you get a little bit of a connection, because he's speaking with the midwife lady next door
He's
that
gonna be a dad.
and
Yeah.
and so you got all the feels, and then crunch. Oh,
Yeah. I'm like, okay, not a good look for John Deere.
no.
You know,
And such
but
a what a way to go, right? To be crushed. I mean, that
no
that is
thanks.
just because you're still there, right?
You're that's not a quick death. No.
No.
Again, Amanda, you talked about the misdirection that is constantly going through this movie,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it a good slasher. You're always like, who did it? Like,
Who
unless
done
it's Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, and Freddy Krueger's back. But,
Right.
a movie like this where you're like, who's the killer? Like,
Mm-hmm.
who's responsible? Speaking of that, back to Michael Berryman. He gets knifed, while peeping on Athena from Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that happening because at that point I'm like, Berryman, he's a bit of a creep. I think
I
he's
didn't see it happening because at that point we're being led to believe that it's one of the Hittites. So why would they be taking out their own?
exactly. And I'm like, well, wait, is it Isaiah? Is it Ernest Borgnine kind of teaching this kid a lesson?
Uh-huh.
And the big shock for me is, I mean, he has done total slasher style, with the slashing. I was like, okay, so wait, is this a slasher movie? Is that what? Because I mean, like you, I'm thinking we're watching a supernatural horror film,
Mm-hmm.
religious supernatural horror film, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not that. Now we're on a different path, and now it's okay. Who's the killer? And we're just along for the ride.
But that was one of the deaths though too, and that was very giallo, like the Italian style,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
where they're wearing the gloves, they got the knife, there's
Mhm.
red in the frame and all that. So slasher, yes, but that one, that one reminded me a little more giallo style, which isn't
I'm with you on
necessarily
that.
slasher, but the way the death was carried out, yeah. But
Jeff, there are two characters we haven't spoken about
Okay.
in our rundown. And I kind of alluded to the neighbors.
Yeah.
So there's Louisa and her daughter Faith that
yeah,
live next
they're
door.
pretty important.
Yeah, they're
A little
not
bit.
farmers. They're not farmers. The mother, works at the diner, I think, and
Mhm.
Faith apparently collects eggs and paints
Yeah.
a lot. And so they're the they're the neighbors. Poor Faith, she's the object of Michael Berryman's taunting,
Mhm.
and he destroys her painting set at the very beginning, but she is the Laura Ingalls, if you will, of the beginning of this film.
Definitely starts out Laura Ingalls. Definitely does not end up Laura Ingalls.
No,
No.
no.
Yeah. Listen, are we gonna? I know that some people might be watching this on Tubi or Pluto when the time comes, but are we staying spoiler free just for that, or are we just gonna chat it up? What do you guys want to do?
How do you stay spoiler free? Like,
I don't know that you can, and plus
yeah.
it's 1981. So you've had your chance, right? Listeners, hit pause. Go watch it if you don't want anything spoiled for you, because
Also,
we're
if you're
gonna
listening to a podcast about a movie you haven't seen, then that's on you.
yeah, you knew what you're getting to. So yeah, Faith starts off the movie Laura Ingalls, finishes it Lou Ingalls.
Uh,
Yeah, just
Who
saw that coming?
What was her brother's name? Adam? I don't know.
Adam.
But but the thing right off the bat was her mom, right? Louise. She's like
Yep.
already, like, you see her kind of like, oh, no boys, whatever. I hope you have a girl. Boys are
Mhm.
nothing but trouble. And at first you're just kind of thinking in your mind, well, maybe it's because she's just dealt with these Hittites and they're just all jerks, to everybody. But yeah, no, she tries to hide a secret that gets revealed at the very end of the film.
Well, yeah, because I did not see the sleepaway camp reveal hitting the way it
No,
did.
no.
I was a little confused at first. I was like, why would you
Thank
specifically,
you.
right, Amanda? Yeah.
Thank you. Because seriously, again, going back to my attention span, I'm in and out while I'm watching this. And I saw her hit the ground. I mean, I don't know if we're talking about that exact scene yet,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I didn't pay that close of attention to understand what just happened. All I was
Yeah,
like, when they were wrestling, why all of a sudden is her shirt open?
right.
I'm with you. So my first thought was, and I don't want to be mean, but I was just like, okay, well, why does her shirt need to be open?
Thank
Especially
you.
if maybe she's not built, you know, a certain way. And then it hits me. I was like, wait, that she's not a girl. Like, and then I'm full into like sleepaway camp mode. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see what's going on. And that leads me to her mom,
She's a
Amanda.
man, man.
Yeah. Amanda,
She's a boy.
how much of, yeah, but when you think back though, Amanda, her mom, how much Mrs. Voorhees is she giving off when you think back to it?
Oh, totally.
She is
Totally. I
full
mean,
on Pamela Voorhees.
she has one of my three favorite lines in this movie when she talks about if Faith was born a boy, she would have thrown her into the creek like a cat.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, you don't do that
What?
to cats. Don't do that to babies. Like, so
Uh,
at the end, retrospectively looking back, there were some lines that it was like, okay, this woman's not all there. Not all
mhm.
there.
Yeah, we've definitely got some Friday the 13th happening in this. We've got a whole lot of sleepaway camp happening in this.
Yeah, very protective mom, sounding. And
Mhm.
that's why you think, okay, maybe halfway through, I was like, oh, she's got to be the killer. She has to be. Like, she's far too protective, like you said, Mrs.
Yeah.
Voorhees. Um,
I give you credit because I didn't see it coming. I was like, oh my gosh, because like I was feeling a Pamela vibe, but then I didn't.
mhm,
I was like, well, we're not going to do that. And then we did that, and I was like,
mhm.
this is straight up Friday the 13th. Like Wes was cribbing a little bit of Sean Cunningham here,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
I
And
have a
you and
question for you. Well,
yeah, no, good.
okay.
Let's see it. Let's hear it,
Okay.
Chuck.
So you have a very straight, I mean, I don't want to say a straightforward. I mean, there's a lot of misdirection here, but it is a good horror film where, there is a mystery that happens, which is part of what the fun of the film is. But there's also a supernatural element to this.
Hmm.
Question: did the supernatural element happen? Or was that all just a figment of their imaginations? Not talking about what John Peters put in there at the very end, but
Hmm.
I mean, just like all of Lana's stories about hearing the man whispering in her ear and then the
Yeah.
hands coming down, like you see on the poster. By the way, the poster is awesome.
Oh, poster's
Um,
very awesome.
if you got to go and look at the poster for it, it's really good. And yes. But you have the hands that are kind of coming out. So there is so just a we talked about an incubus, right? A
Hmm.
couple of times. So from a I don't know if Wes Craven was meaning all of this, but just being the Dungeons and Dragons nerd that I am, an incubus is like a demon.
Yeah.
It's a male demon, and he comes to women at night and in their sleep, and they get it on.
Okay.
A succubus is a female version of an incubus. So,
Okay. So Gluntz has it wrong. Like he's shouting out incubus, but he should have been shouting out succubus then.
well, the incubus obviously I think is a real spiritual thing at the end, but calling Faith an incubus or accusing her of being in league with or whatever, it turns
Yeah.
out he's right,
He's
right?
right.
You know,
Yeah. Michael Berryman is right.
yeah, they were right all along. But Mike, I still feel that this film is playing two ways. I think there is there's a supernatural element. It gets revealed at the end, so that makes me think that anything with Lana when she's asleep,
Hmm.
that is actually the real incubus.
Okay.
And then all the things that are happening outside in the physical world during daylight or in the evening, um, but not like in a sleep state. All of that is Faith going around, or it could be your mom, one of the two.
Okay.
Um, and then you also have who was it? Ghostface in the barn,
Mm-hmm.
who's chasing Lana inside the barn, just all robed up. That was the only one that I really couldn't say who that was, because it just doesn't seem uh, I couldn't quite put in there that it was Faith in a robe or it was her mom in a robe out in the broad daylight when Marin is right out on the tractor out in front of the barn. So that part I really can't explain. But I think for the most part, it just seems like that there's a actual spiritual side to it, and there's a definitely a physical side to it.
Chuck brings up a good point. Amanda, as my expert in this matter,
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna ask you. The movie is a slasher. The movie is supernatural horror. It's walking a fine line between both
Mm-hmm.
subgenres.
Mm-hmm.
Does it get away with it? Because, and I ask this because I know, doing a little bit of homework, there were certain theaters that were cutting when the incubus, the demon shows up and comes out of the floor and all that. There were some that were cutting some theaters were actually cutting that and removing it from the movie to keep it just a strict slasher film.
Because it was
And I
in
don't
that
know.
era.
Yeah. So my question to you is, can horror films do this? Can they kind of keep one foot in each subgenre and get away with it, in your opinion?
I think it can be done. I mean, I guess when I think about this movie as a slasher, like I think about it being in a slasher in the same way that like Halloween is. It's
Okay.
not really what we deem slashers. It's not
Hmm.
really what people think about when they think about slashers, but it's got those elements to it. I'm trying to think of another movie maybe that would combine the supernatural and the slasher elements.
I
Boy,
mean,
one comes to mind.
Which
Jason Goes
one?
to Hell gets away with it.
Oh God, that's not even a movie.
Okay,
I know. I
what
had to throw it out there to
what
you.
Ah,
what this
What you got,
reminds
Chuck?
me of? Okay, well, what this whole film reminded me of after I finally sat down and thought about it. This was Wes Craven's practice run for A Nightmare on Elm Street in more ways than
Absolutely.
one. I mean, I think it was like the prototype of it. And he took some of these themes and he just expanded it and just made
sure.
a much better villain. Um, villain, I don't know.
No, that's actually a really good like parallel because there are elements of Nightmare on Elm Street, that whole series, that are supernatural if you really want to think about it that way.
Yeah. I mean, Freddy's a
So,
slasher, but it's got
But
it by default. It is supernatural. I
yeah, I
right.
mean,
was going to say Freddy is also supernatural.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So there,
Chuck, I never
I
thought
couldn't
about
think of
that.
the biggest one. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I Chuck, I think you're right. This is kind of like his test run for Nightmare on Elm Street. And to that point, the bathtub scene, and I know Amanda's about to wince again. Um, but I was shocked at how shot for shot that moment is, because this is 1981 with you know with Deadly Blessing, and
Mhm.
then we see the exact same thing happen in 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street with
Mhm.
Nancy, with Heather Langenkamp. I mean, I'm thinking he had to have had this running on set of Elm Street and say, hey, this is how we're gonna block the scene. This is how we're gonna do it. This is where I want the girl. I want her legs open. I want the thing coming out in the middle. It's amazing how
Mhm.
perfect it is. It's a
Mhm.
perfect matchup. Were you guys kind of blown away when that happened?
Uh,
Totally. Right away. I mean, but
Yeah.
I also couldn't sit through it.
yeah,
It's
I,
I,
it
it was
it's
harder
tough.
for me than the glove, right?
Oh yeah.
oh,
By default,
because
totally.
by sure.
because I have lived with that for so many years, so it's nothing. But to have this same scene come up, right? But now it's not, Freddy. It's someone has actually put a big old snake into
Mhm.
the bathtub, and there's some. You touch me there again, I'm going to scream. Pulls up the
Yeah.
soap. Uh, so that snake's all over the place, right? I'm I'm just it gets me. And then there's one scene, and I think I may have said something to you about it, Jeff. Was that when she's fighting with the snake and all that, the snake is swimming up the side of the bathtub, and I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
nope, I'm out.
I'll tell you something. I'm not afraid of snakes. I'll pick them up. I've held snakes. I've whether it's been at like a nature center and it's like, hey, here, hold the boa constrictor, or it's
No.
been like out back of work and it's been like
No.
a brown snake. I
No.
don't, it doesn't bother me, but I'll tell you this.
No.
There's a different kind of fear unlocked when the snake is in the water with you and it just goes right by you. And I've had that, and I, like a cartoon character, I was running on top of the water to get back to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And she
There's a
does
different
this.
kind of fear unlocked when you're a woman
Mm-hmm.
and you're
Oh.
in the bathtub with a snake, and there's some very phallic undertones to it.
Ugh.
I'm telling you guys, I almost vomited in my mouth. Like, and then the couple of times I rewatched it, I could not sit through it. I couldn't. Like, I had to look away. Like, visceral reaction.
Well,
And that does not happen to me a lot.
well, they say like with horror films, and I know we've talked about this on some of the other episodes we've done, but like the bathroom, it's one of the most, um, it's one of those places in the house where you're most vulnerable, right? Because more often than not, you're going to be in a state of undress. You're going to be, your guards down. Amanda, to your point, I know, you look at a bathtub and you're like, let's get some candles and bubbles and a glass of wine, and it's supposed to be serenity. It's supposed to be a place to relax. And
Mm-hmm.
you watch this scene in Deadly Blessing, and I don't have a bathtub in my place. It's a shower, and I'm glad. I don't want a bathtub ever again after watching this, because not scared. I can be in a bathtub and go, yeah, a hand with a claw with Freddy's glove, that can't happen in real
That's
life.
never going to happen.
But some kind of pest, be it a snake or something, some kind of creepy crawly, can definitely get in your bathtub. And this scene, just aside from the whole Nancy Nightmare on Elm Street shot for shot thing happening, I was creeped out. I was like, no, I'll never get in a bathtub again.
Mm.
Like, I wouldn't go on vacation and get in a hot tub at this point.
See, we have a big corner tub and we have a hot tub, and I enjoy both immensely.
I'm sorry I made you watch this movie then, if that's the
No,
case.
that's okay. It's just, I can't watch it. It just, like, even talking about it right now, like, I feel bile coming up. Like, it was just, no, that was so unsettling.
Oh, well, before Amanda, loses it. Let's move. Let's wrap this up. Or hold on, Chuck.
I got one more thing, because this is the one scene that I cannot figure out who it was that put the snake in the tub. Because my theory is this. My theory is that this is Faith. Faith is in love with Martha. She wants Martha for himself, so she kills her husband. Or actually, before she even does that, while they're at the beginning, Jim and Martha are celebrating their 1-year anniversary. She comes into the house. She steals the photo that she goes and makes her masterpiece painting later on. She later comes into the house after Jim's death. She sits on their bed and starts going up and down, kind of in a really creepy way.
Super creepy.
And then, Michael Berryman is outside looking at her, so she offs him. And then, she's doing stuff to get the friends away. And then someone comes in and puts the snake in. So my theory is that, Faith, who is, we've already said is a man, is in, wanting to possess or own or whatever, Martha Schmidt. I don't see why he would put a snake in the tub. So I can't explain that one unless it happens to be Louise, the mother. So this one doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it might not make sense, but it definitely scares the crap out of us.
It was effective.
It was effective. Well, guys, we find ourselves at a crossroads because we've discussed 2 Wes Craven films with the word deadly in the title. Now, there are no other Wes Craven films that have the word deadly in it. We've covered both of them. So I ask you, next year, do we come back and discuss a Wes Craven film? Or do we find a new underrated horror film with the word deadly in the title? Because I can assure you there are plenty of them. And we're here. We're the fork is in the road. I ask you guys, like, Amanda, are we coming? Like, we're the Deadly Friends. Are we coming back Are we gonna do another Wes Craven movie, or are we gonna do a deadly movie? What do you think?
I think I'm Team Deadly only because I feel like the niche of your podcast is maybe movies that haven't been discussed as much.
Yes.
And I do feel that films by Wes Craven have been covered on every corner of the internet.
All right, Chuck, do you concur?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Team Deadly as well because after this we get the Nightmare series, we get the Scream series, and those are really well known. Maybe lesser known to younger people who are starting off in this genre. Last House on the Left and The Hills Have
Ooh.
Eyes. They're very good, but yeah, Last House on the Left is a difficult film to watch, and I'm not sure. I can't recommend that to everybody. It's hard to
Nah,
recommend.
that's
Well,
an
not only
acquired
that, but
taste.
you keep the podcast light,
Yeah.
Yeah.
playful and stuff.
Oh,
And
that
there's
one.
no way to do that. And I would not join that anyways because I won't watch it. I watched it once and
Yeah.
nope.
All right, let's
Well,
let's
after we did that Deadly Friends last year, Amanda, because you said that exact same thing, I said, "Ooh, I've got to go watch this." And when I was finished, I was like, "She was right."
You
That's
never
it.
you never saw Last House on the Left?
I'd never seen it. No,
Oh,
and
no, I
I'd never
can't do
seen.
it.
I had not seen The Hills Had Eyes, Have
Mhm.
Eyes, and I definitely would watch Hills Have Eyes again.
Mhm.
The first
Oh, yeah.
one, I wouldn't.
Mhm.
And originally he wanted to make that, a pornographic film. So he wanted it to be a lot more than what we saw. And what we see is already pretty rough.
Mhm.
well, Chuck, if she gave you, well, she tried to give you a warning last time with Last
Mhm.
House. I'll give you a new warning just to keep it going. And Amanda, I'm betting she's seen this, so she can back me up on
If
this.
you say I spit on your grave, I'm gonna lose my
Chuck,
mind.
Chuck, that is the movie you should not watch. Do not watch.
How
I'm
did
going
I
to watch
know?
it now.
Because that's the other one I will not watch.
Yeah, that's
I've
a
seen
tough
that
one.
video box. I have seen that video box since what,
Well,
1980 something,
okay. Can I give you a fun fact about that video box?
I know that
Poster?
there's a famous actress whose rear we're seeing there.
Amanda, do you know this? Do you know the poster, the movie box?
Yeah.
It's like we have the woman's torso from behind. You know who that is, right?
No.
That is Demi Moore.
Is it really?
Yep, she was a model before she was an actress, and that's her.
How do you know all these weird random things? This amazes me. Like absolutely
Yeah.
amazes me. Huh.
Wayne.
No. But
He
Chuck,
hangs out
you
with
might
Wayne.
want to. Yeah, I hang out with Wayne. Chuck, you might want to avoid "I Spit on Your Grave."
Yeah.
It's
And
that's
I'm
a
already
tough one.
downloading it. No.
If you thought Last House on the Left was tough, well, buckle up because "I
Yeah.
Spit on Your Grave" is a lot worse.
See, you don't tell me
Guys,
not to do something.
I know.
Jeff, I have one more thing.
Yeah.
There's two more quotes in this movie that
Okay. Oh, I didn't even give you my favorite quote, so maybe you're about to give it to me.
I'm sure I am. The first one is that the Hittites make the Amish look like swingers.
Like swinger, yes.
Absolutely
is
kills
such
me.
a-
So every time you said this is an Amish horror movie, I'm like, not a swinger horror movie.
Not a
but
swinger
okay.
horror movie.
Not a swinger. Cracks me up. I think I rewatched this 4 times and it made me chuckle all 4 times. And then Ernest Borgnine, his quote about how you're a stench in the nose of God.
Yeah. Yes.
You're a stench in the nostrils of God.
I had
that was it. The nostrils. Yeah.
I had the swinger one, but then it's a slasher movie, which means the police have got to be completely invisible or useless or both. And I love when the sheriff, the first time he shows up, he has the line, "Hey, if something happens, I ain't gonna be back in time for nothing but cleanup." I'm like, do your job, dude. Like you can't
Do your
patrol. Yeah, no. I thought, yeah, that it's definitely a slasher now. The cops are not showing up until it's time to just pick up
Right.
bodies. So
Right.
fantastic.
Do you want a fun little fun fact before we close it out?
Absolutely.
It's so dumb though, you guys. It's so dumb, but I thought this was funny. So this is a Wes Craven movie, and they spend the whole movie talking about the Incubus, right?
Yeah.
The band Incubus had a song in Wes Craven's Scream 3.
Whoa, I didn't think it. No, I didn't even think about that. I loved Incubus.
What a dumb fact, hey?
I'm gonna go pull up Spotify and listen now. So thank you for that.
Yeah, crowded elevator.
Amanda watched this one 4 times. Amanda, you watch what are you watching on Tubi, or did you
Tubi,
buy it,
yeah.
or Tubi?
Yep.
Tubi.
Mhm.
Tubi.
I love Tubi.
I love Tubi. Absolutely love Tubi. You watched it 4 times. Can I?
It watched loosely. Okay,
Okay.
loosely.
You
I
you
probably
turned it
sat
on
through
four
it,
times.
eyes on it, one full time. I watched it again today while I was working just to refresh myself because it's been 2 weeks since we were supposed to originally record. But I was sanding at the time. But yeah, I think 4 times.
Okay, so the question is, would you recommend this to someone, whether they're a horror fan, a Wes Craven fan, just wanting to watch something on Tubi? Does this get the slasher girl recommendation?
I would say if you like movies from the early 80s,
Fair.
probably, but if you're like a 90s or 2000s horror fan, this is going to lose you. It's going to lose you
Okay.
real quick, I think. And I also think it doesn't have a ton of the elements that make a Wes Craven movie what a lot of people think a Wes Craven movie is.
Mm-hmm.
So say you take a Scream fan or even a Nightmare on
Yeah.
Elm Street fan, you're like, oh, Wes Craven did this. You'll
Yeah.
love it. You know, they're going to probably not love it because it doesn't have a lot of the Hallmark Craven stamps in it. But I would recommend it. I think it's an interesting watch. I
Yeah.
still am
Okay.
very confused by it all, but I
It's got
think they were
layers.
too. I think they were
Yeah.
too. So
How about it, Chuck?
Yeah, this is it is definitely better than Deadly Friends.
oh, okay.
I didn't even see the the ranking. I didn't know we were doing Deadly Friend versus
No,
Deadly
I'm just
Blessing.
well,
Okay.
if people were to ask me, would you recommend Deadly Friend? That it's a hard. It's like okay, it's cute. It feels like an experimental movie, where he was trying to do that whole John Carpenter Starman thing for himself. But this one, it feels more like it was his warm up. It was his dress rehearsal
Mhm.
for what was coming up. And so if you look at it in that angle, it's really kind of neat. And there's some things about the film that don't quite make sense, as far as like, okay, who really is involved in all of this? And at the end, it really doesn't matter. And once you have gone back and rewatched that Fall Down by Faith and you figure out, oh, okay, now I understand what's happened there because I don't spend a lot of time on it. But yeah, it's a movie that I would recommend for people that if you're looking for something you haven't seen before, you could do a lot worse than this.
Well, Chuck, if someone wanted to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer completely obliterate Mama Fratelli's head with a basketball, I would totally tell them to watch Deadly Friend. As for Deadly Blessing, though, it's streaming free on Tubi and Pluto TV right now. And I think it's definitely worth a watch, especially for Michael Berryman, Ernest Borgnine. And hey, can you really call yourself a Wes Craven fan if you haven't seen all his films? And I'm not talking about Abe Snake. I'm talking about Craven. So I say, like, look, if you're a Nightmare fan, you want to see this just for the bathtub scene, just to see like the
Right.
where we started and where we ended up. So I'm saying check it out. But listeners, for those of you that already have, what did you think of Wes Craven's Deadly Blessing? Did you see it? Are you planning to? Are you pulling up Tubi and watching it 4 times like Amanda Janik? You can let us know. You can let us know on social media. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can check out A Film by Podcast for all of our film and TV articles and the entire library, which is streaming free. You can check us out on YouTube. I'm happy to say now with our we're kicking it. Like I said, we're kicking it off with our A Film by Goes to Scarefest. A lot of awesome stuff in those 3 small episodes. And you can always write to us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com with your questions, comments, and concerns. We may just read your response on the show and send you some A Film by swag. Chuck, before you run off, I know we're going to talk to you again this week. We're talking about the Blob, the remake with which is going to be awesome. Oh yeah, we got the Blob
You
coming,
had me
Amanda.
up for Deadly Blessing, but not. Oh, Jeff.
Wait, the
Oh,
Blob is not a slasher.
I could talk about Kevin Dillon all day long.
Uh,
Oh,
Chuck, wait, I may have
You
to go
got the
director's.
you picked the wrong guest host. You should have
I
benched me and
might have.
brought Amanda on.
Well, it was, we
the
had
remake is so good. It's
well,
so
yeah,
good.
it's all well. We had, it's directed by Chuck Russell. We had to have a Chuck, show up. Amanda, it's a slasher. I wouldn't even thought to get you for the Blob, but
I do have some other horror movies I like.
okay,
I do.
okay,
I do. It's not all
all right.
slashers, but
Well,
The Blob, man. Oh.
all right. Well, Amanda, you'll have to let us know how
If
Chuck
you do the
does.
stuff, if you ever do the stuff,
Thank
do you remember
you.
that movie?
I remember
Yes.
that movie. I
Every
would
time
not
I
do
eat
it without
yogurt.
you.
Right here.
Okay.
Right here, we're talking the stuff.
Chuck, I know you're gonna be back this week for you're with me and David talking about the Blob, but what's going on? How's the lineup looking on the Cinematic Flashback podcast?
Yeah, we are winding down our first season. I think we're going to end up with 26 episodes, which I know is small potatoes. That's like a month's worth of podcast for you guys. But for me, I'm pretty happy about that. Let's see, coming up, I've got David Wright, aka Deaf Dave. He is coming on. We're talking the Three Musketeers, Richard Lester's great adventure story, the telling of the Dumas story. Following that, we're coming out with Apocalypse Now. We recorded that just recently. What a fantastic film that is. And then to finally wrap up season 1, we are covering Robert Shaw in The Deep. And I have a guest host coming, a Mr. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, a Jeff Johnson. Before.
That's right. I told you back when you started, you're like, hey, how about give us some thoughts, give us some recommendations. I was like, Chuck, The Deep, Lou Gossett Jr., Jacqueline Bisset, make it happen. And you're like, what else you guys got? And I was like, Chuck, The Deep.
The deep had always been scheduled in since you said that. It was penciled in. It's just taken a while
Nick
to get
Nolte,
to it.
just being just Nick
Just Nick
Nolte
all over the place.
It's
Jinx.
I'm so excited to talk about The Deep.
Yeah, me too.
Listeners, if you have not already hit that like and subscribe button on the Cinematic Flashback podcast, you're missing out. I don't know what you're waiting on. It is the podcast for the 70s classics. What Chuck and Matt are doing over there, absolutely awesome. I've been fortunate enough to show up a couple times over there, looking at you, Jaws episode, which was just groundbreaking stuff. Chuck, if you look up Jaws podcast, you're gonna get a telephone book. And we've done it. We've done Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone we know has done Jaws. And somehow you found a way to make Jaws like it was like the first time ever listening to a podcast about Jaws. I love what you guys.
How can
did.
you
I won't spoil it.
how can you express your love for a film by just thinking of the craziest ways you would redo it if you could? So you guys brought it. It was very creative. David was an amazing host that night.
He was.
It allowed me to hop on and play along. And we just had a lot of fun. I think Jason Colvin said it that he hadn't smiled that much, and I think everybody was grinning ear to ear by the end of it.
Loved what you did. I hope you do something like that again.
Well,
season 2. I hope so.
Rocky is having its 50th anniversary next year.
I'm your guy.
So.
I'm your
All
guy.
right.
Amanda, you are the slasher girl, and I gotta tell you, I know we said Deadly Blessing. It counts as a slasher, but I also know we've had you on a couple times. I don't feel like we've done a true slasher film. So I think the next time you show up, it's time to do a bona fide 80s slasher film. Are you up for that?
I'm ready. Absolutely ready.
I told you.
Fine. That's my element.
I told you I was like, I think we owe you at this point. You've shown up a couple times, done an excellent job, talking about movies that aren't exactly your favorite subgenre. So I was like, hey, pick the slasher. We're doing it. I don't care how big it is. So
I'm excited.
I am excited for that too. And I know we got something special planned for next season. I won't give that away just yet, Amanda, but You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I want to thank both of you, for humoring me and doing a film like none of us had ever seen before. Didn't know what to expect, but I think we had a good time with it. I'm glad. I'm happy that I've seen this one. So.
Yeah, me too.
And to all of you listening to the show, following us on social media, subscribing to our Patreon, and checking out our YouTube channel, we thank you.